Good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bowl TV. Matt Canizaro alongside Aaron Smith, and we are here for day 2 of match play at the 2017 USBC Senior Masters here at the Samstown Bowling Center in Las Vegas. We're down to 32 competitors in this year's event. 16 in the winner's bracket, 16 in the elimination bracket. And right now we have winners bracket matches on our featured pairs. To the left, lanes 19 and 20 here at Samstown. Andy Nyer stepping up. We saw him in the step ladder last year, trying to make it back-to-back appearances, and he's taking on the newly 50, John Chavanik. Turned 50 in April. Very excited to be able to come and bowl this event. And the left-hander bowling very well, but now the battle of the lefties taking place on 19 and 20. And to our right, starting with one of our 710s we've seen so many of here on our featured pairs, Scott Cray and Pete Weber, the defending champion. Weber having quite the day yesterday, coming up big time in a couple of 10th frame victories. One of them was right here on Bowl TV. We saw him taking on Robert Worrell. Weber doubled in the 10th to take home a 588, 579 victory. Got a nice break on one shot that easily could have been a big 4, but everybody cooperated and gave him the victory. He went on to his next match against his good buddy, Chris Warren. In game 2, both of them started with 8 consecutive strikes. Pete Weber went on to shoot 300, 1 of 8 for this week's event. And then in game 3, he stepped up and doubled in the 10th again. After another break, a Brooklyn strike stripped a 6-pin in the 9th frame. He hadn't struck on the right lane the entire 3rd game, and just went up there, and he said he moved left and didn't get quite the reaction he was hoping for, but it went Brooklyn, got the break. Felt a little bad about the 6-pin, but you can't be friends out there in the settee. It's all business, be friends later. He went on to win that match. A significantly different score, 781 to 774. And now here he is, undefeated through 2 rounds in 2017. He also was your undefeated top seed in 2016 and 2015, taking home last year's title against Paul McCordick, the year before falling twice in the title match to Enlito Monticelli. So now that you're all caught up, let's watch some bowling. And Aaron Smith jumping in as well to potentially go over some of our other matches and talk details here at the Senior Masters. Again, as we narrow the field down some more from 32 to, by the end of the day, the 5 who will be headed to the step ladder tomorrow morning.
Was that my cue to start?
Hey, feel free to interact with the folks at home.
All right, I will. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bowl TV. 2017 USBC Senior Masters. Just a note for some folks in the chat. As Matt said, tomorrow the stepladder finals start time is going to be 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. local time here in Las Vegas. But yes, plenty of opportunities. 32 players left in the field, 16 in the winner's bracket, including these 4 gentlemen in front of us here. If you want to follow the bracket as well as live scoring, we have a few ways for you to get there. You can go into the description below the video. We have links to live scoring and the bracket. Or you can visit bowl.com/Senior Masters and get everything you need to know about the 2017 event. We've been using the online scoring all week. Very helpful, provided by the good folks here at Samstown. Thanks to them for their continued support. Always great to have events here. Always take care of us, as well as the players. Back on the fresh 41-foot condition being used this week. Just a hair over 29 mils for the volume using the Kegel ice oil. Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider for USBC championship events. Also a gold industry partner along with Hammer Storm and Columbia 300, so thanks to them for their continued support. We didn't get to see it, but we got to see it on live scoring yesterday. Mr. Scott Cray, he threw a lot of strikes in his 2 wins. Still looking for number 1 here. Connects in frame 4. 3-game matches, total pinfall determining who advances and who gets knocked down. As Matt mentioned, got plenty of matches going on around Samstown at the moment. In the winners bracket, we have Mika Koivunemi taking on Walter Ray Williams Jr. Daryl Dempsey and Roger Cossert. Brian Leclerc against Eddie Graham. And Junichi Yajima against Bob Learn Jr. That's all on the left side of the bracket. As Nair annihilates that 8-pin right there. The winner of the Scott Cray-Pete Weber match will face the winner of Norm Duke and Tony Rodriguez Jr. So potentially that would be a possible match a lot of folks would have interest in if Weber and Duke are able to make it out of this round. Chovanek and Nair. The winner of that match will face the winner of Lenny Borsch Jr. and James Wallace. In the contenders bracket, pair of lefties over on 37 and 38, Parker Bone III and Doug Becker facing off. Hall of Famer Sam Lanto taking on Paul McCordick, the runner-up in 2016 at the Senior Masters. William Nichols taking on David Smith. Ron Moore, our Super Senior Classic champion, against Charles Rashaw. We have Krister Peterson, rolled a 300 yesterday, taking on Joe Salvamini. Salvimini. There we go. Gotta get Joe's name right. Brian Goebel facing off against Marv Sargent. Ryan Schaefer against Dana Wright. And finally, the last match going on, the elimination side of the bracket. Brian Kretschler against USBC and PWBA Hall of Famer Tish Johnson. Question from Sean in the chat: when did Mika become a senior? Recently. April appears to turn the odometer over to 50. So hasn't been bowling much. He's the head coach of the national team and the United Arab Emirates. So the focus has been more on that aspect than the competing side.
Definitely a nice little gig over there. And the bowling center that we saw for the World Championships, pretty sweet. I say of all the commercial bowling centers I've been to, that's probably the nicest one. I believe there's their official practice center, and he's over there doing cool things to make the UAE bowlers better.
Is that your way of showing off, Matt?
Not at all. Just if we had some cool venues like that, we have some great ones here in the U.S., of course. Samstown, a terrific host, hard-working staff. Now, Pete Weber, yesterday we mentioned in his match against Chris Warren, third game, had some trouble striking on the right lane. And here, still searching for his first strike on the right lane. And there it is, high flush for the double. So he'll grow his advantage here as we get in the back half of game number 1. He's going to take a re-rack, and for the left-hander, Shavanik. Seven count, and falling behind here against Andy Nyer. The lefty showdown.
Have another lefty showdown with a lot of strikes. Over on 37 and 38 out of the gates. Parker Bone III and Doug Becker.
This is a shocking sequence of events that you're sharing. Parker Bone throwing a lot of strikes.
And his opponent throwing a lot of strikes as well.
Parker Bone has bowled 3 matches so far. Shot 700 in all 3 of them. And 2 of them 765 or better. He's averaging 248 for 24 games here at the Senior Masters. Got bounced to the elimination bracket. First round. The 1 versus 64 matchup. Again, in this event, anybody can happen. And he got fellow Hall of Famer Brian Voss. And it happened right here on Bowl TV. 774 to 703. Parker goes right to the elimination bracket. He's got a lot of work to do now, but is among the top 32 here. It's hard to believe he's throwing that many strikes in a week period. Already broke the 15-game pinfall record, but it means nothing once you get to match play. We'll keep you posted on his progress. We know there's a lot of PB3 fans out there curious about how he's doing. It seems his opponents are stepping up big time. Ted Stakeoff yesterday finished with 299 and 759, forcing Parker to double in the 10th. Of course, that's what Parker does, and he did it, just like our defending champ Pete Weber did it twice.
Cray takes the reset and takes advantage. 3 in a row. Starting to settle in here after a pair of early splits. Andy Nyer made it to the stepladder finals in 2016 here at the Senior Masters. Ended up finishing 5th. Looking to continue that momentum. Looks like Andy and I are going to try something for the fill ball here. Get a little bit more information. Going to have the lead after one. Nair, a PBA Tour titleist. Captured the Bud Light Hall of Fame Championship back in 1994. And out of the gate strong here, 259. Against Chovanec. Four in a row from Cray. Get a 228 this game with all three in the 10th. Max score for Weber 227. So despite having a few opens to start, Weber unable to get strikes together. Giving Cray the opportunity to take the slightest advantage into game two.
Well, you mentioned Scott Cray's performance yesterday. There's 2 wins in the winner's bracket. He came in as the number 47 seed. Took down Kurt Rasnick, 761 to 702. And those 2 gentlemen both were in the 270s game 1, so a little bit of excitement there. And then Scott went on to defeat Australia's Andrew Frawley, 709 to 595. So things clicking, obviously, in match play. A little different traffic pattern on the lanes, and that one's wide right. Leaves a 1-2-4. But still, good save here after pair opens to start. Cray will finish with 215. Pete Weber with a chance at a 12-pin advantage here. Great shot there on the right lane for Weber. Andy Nair leads Chovanec, 259-203.
Oh.
Shot there by John. Drills the 9-pin. Aaron, looks like we have a little competition on the airwaves today. Emil Williams Jr. should be doing his thing in Lincoln at the PWBA event. And Extra Frame also should be at the Lubbock PBA regional event. So at least we're in the top 3 that we know of. So that's a good start to the day.
We're getting a medal. All right. So, just like that, we are tied after one. Matching 215s for Weber and Cray.
Ball gets away from Weber, second shot. So Nair and Shavanik, obviously both left-handed, so the transition going to be a little different perhaps than in previous matches. Shavanik going with a lot of ball surface, so that will certainly affect this 41-foot pattern. All part of the nature of this event, as we saw with Pete Weber. First round getting a win, doubling for 588. And then bowling nearly 200 pins better. Next match, different pair, different opponent. Just treat it one match, one opponent, one lane at a time. That's all you can do. Not worry about what's happening around you. We had a couple of high-scoring matches just like that. We also, like mentioned earlier, Parker Bone 765, 759 over Stakeoff. And then there's guys winning with 570, 580. It's just what the pair gives you at that time. And the W, as you said yesterday, all that matters. Get the win. Doesn't matter how you do it.
That is, yeah. Got to have tunnel vision. And, you know, obviously this week we've seen a lot of last strikes, a lot of big scores. As you mentioned, 8 300s already in the books. Some big sets. Sam Lanto coming out of the gates and firing 800, but yeah, really only, hey, Pete kicking some pins around. But yeah, tunnel vision on what your pair is doing, what it's giving you. Win's a win, doesn't matter the score. Obviously, you'd like to shoot 780 every set.
Well, I say save it for when you need it.
Well, yes, if it was that simple.
But I would say you take two of the best, Pete Weber and Chris Warren, put them on a pair together. Strategy-wise, transition-wise, breakdown-wise, that 10 minutes of practice put to good use. It could, well, it did yield some high scores. So a lot of factors involved, of course, in our great sport.
So Nair went back to the ball he started with on the right lane. Got to stick with the ball change on the left, though.
Nair knows how to throw some strikes. He's a USBC record holder for 300s and 800s in a season. Upwards of 40 of each. More than most will have in their careers by far.
That's a pretty solid year right there.
All right, so Cray now with a 13-pin advantage over Weber, and Shavanik connecting for 4 consecutive strikes here. So what we saw yesterday with the two right-handers, Weber and Warren, kind of what we're seeing here a little bit with our left-handers now. A little bit of surface outside, lanes open up. Some miss room to the left, and now the strikes piling on here in game number 2.
Nobody letting up here on 19 and 20. Trading strike for strike. Shavonic down 56 after the opening game. Wants to keep the pressure on here. But will Andy Nair give him a chance?
P. Weber with the exclamation point at the end of that strike.
Certainly was not happy about the result from the last time on lane 21. Not afraid to let that lane know. I got your number now.
Well, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Sometimes with your less experienced players and the antics can play a significant role. There's just the mental part of it. P. Weber, when he gets going, certainly brings some fire and gets the crowd into it. Got to be a little bit intimidating being the lesser known. Weber's the kind of guy, love him or hate him, people are going to talk about him and cheer for him, and it can be intimidating having the whole crowd on the other guy's side.
You know nothing about that, right?
No, sir. Lifetimes ago.
Hoinky, 2005?
It was 2006.
Oh, well. Tomato, tomato.
The beginning of the end, but yes. Very intimidating. Very cool at the same time, and what's not cool is the big four on lane 21. Looked like the speed was kind of slow on that one. Aaron Smith is showing me that Tish Johnson has the front 8 on the far end of the bowling center. So I'm going to take a walk, get some steps in, let Aaron man the control station here because he loves technology. So I'll be back, report back on the left-hander. Tish Johnson trying to stay alive here at the 2017 Senior Masters. I'll be right back. Aaron, take it away.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Once again, we're getting this information from the live scoring application. You can use that as well to follow along with your favorite players, or just keep track of matches going on throughout the house. Tish on lanes 45 and 46 taking on Brian Kretzer. Gonna have a pretty big lead, it looks like, heading into game 3. But we'll see if she can keep it going, add a little more excitement. Andy and John so far matched each other this game. Both a strikeout for 259. For Nair, that would be a duplicate. Once again, these are winners of bracket matches, so the players who fall in this round will head to the elimination bracket, still in competition. Doug Becker, Parker Bone, the third match on 37-38. Disappointing at no one at the moment. Parker can shoot a 269, Becker 279. My math is right. That would actually put them maybe even. Does add up a little bit funny here, so just trying to. It looks like Tish got the first strike in the 10th, but a 6-count split second shot. So the ever popular 284 for the USBC and PWBA Hall of Famer. Gonna be at 542 after 2 games, so she's got it on cruise control at the moment. Ryan Schaefer with the front 7. Walter Ray Williams Jr. front 7 against Amika Koivunemi. Jovanik 247. He's going to get to 450 overall. But may not gain any pins back. All right, Andy saw both of those shots hook quite a bit. On the back end of lane 20, so we'll see if there's adjustment. He made the ball change on 19, so maybe we'll see if that comes on 20 as well. But holds the 505 450 advantage. Over Jovanik. Pete Weber and Scott Cray were tied at 215 apiece after game 1. Cray looking for his first strike since the 4th frame. Running into some trouble. Craig gives the pins a look there. Finds himself in trouble here. Weber can really put some distance here with strong 9th and 10th. .244 still out there. He's gonna have a chance stepping up in the 10th to still get there. Matt Cannizzaro has returned.
Hello.
What'd you do to Tish?
Just wanted to capture her exciting moment on video. She didn't even know I was there.
You're so sneaky.
Well, she threw the 11th one out the window. 3-6-7-9. She knew it as soon as she let it go. 284. And it would appear to be a sizable advantage. So really all it's about is winning matches. Most of these players aren't going to worry too much about not shooting 300. Unless it means they lose by a pin, and then bad news.
Back-to-back 9-pin trips for Weber. That one maybe just a touch higher than the previous shot.
Well, he said it. You got to get some breaks along the way. He's not too proud to admit taking advantage of opportunities. That's bowling.
That's what makes you a Hall of Famer.
Many say they even out. But yes, he calls it capitalizing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen to you and for you. It's a matter of taking advantage when it does. And now 243 for Weber. Certainly appears to have taken advantage.
Taking advantage is Walter Ray Williams Jr. Mentioned he had the front sevens, going to be in the 250s this game. Mika, some struggles, finishes with 169, so Walter Ray's going to hold an advantage of 100 pins plus heading into game 3. Looks like a pretty good match brewing between Tony Rodriguez Jr. and Norm Duke. As Shovanik makes it 5 for 5. That Rodriguez Duke match on 25 and 6. The winner gets the winner of Weber and Cray. .458, 389 advantage for Weber. So for Pete, this is the first time he's had a somewhat sizable lead heading into game 3.
I'm gonna bet he's probably okay with that.
After the excitement from yesterday, yes, I would think so.
And he proved that he can step up when he needs to, so I think he'd prefer once in a while not to have to do that. Certainly getting it done here early on day 2.
So Norm Duke finishes with 248. He's going to be at 486 after 2 games. Tony Rodriguez Jr., though, looking to get to 280. Should we get him right around 480? Actually, we get him a little bit closer to 500, excuse me. It's like 224 in the opener. Jovanek has his string of strikes end at 6 by the 6th pin. So it looks like a 493 to 486, Tony Rodriguez Jr. ahead of Norm Duke heading into the finale. That's on 25 and 6. Trouble for Parker Bone III, 5th frame against Doug Becker. Oh. Almost big trouble there for Nair. I've seen Jovanek make up 20 pins on that 55 pin advantage heading into this game. That could have made things pretty interesting if they can get that 7 out.
There's still the possibility of a Weber-Duke match coming up next. However, not if Tony Rodriguez has anything to say about that. That's an interesting one mentally, I think, if you're Pete Weber at that point. But he also talks a little bit about not worrying about your opponent at all. You're just pulling the pins. And that's just another guy on the other side of the scoreboard. So if you think of it that way, perhaps a little bit different.
So right now, looking at the Becker-Bone match, they're both to strike out. I'd say they tie at 762.
Well, Becker knew he was going to need 750 plus against Parker. I don't know that was much of a secret with all those ginormous 700 scores written on a huge billboard across the bowling center. And he's showing up for it. I mean, talked to him yesterday a little bit afterwards, and he knew what the task was. He knew he got some breaks along the way. He knew he got some unbreaks along the way. Some good fortune, and we saw him walk by yesterday after sneaking out a win, and he said, "Thanks, Dad," into the microphone. And Becker's dad died a few weeks ago, so that certainly changes your perspective on things a little bit. But now he's here hoping to do everybody proud. Right now, that means going through Parker Bowen III.
Andy Nyer's going to have the opportunity to close up this match here. Just a mark or two should be enough. Sends everything at the 7-pin. Unable to get it. All right, Matt's going to head over to 37-38. Check out the end of the Becker Bone match. So Andy Nyer, that's going to be enough. Going to move on to the round of 8 on the winner's bracket side. .732 is going to be a winner. So Andy, one step closer to a return visit. To the stepladder finals. Tish Johnson going to be in the 780s in a victory over Brian Kretzer. Kretzer finished with 707. 786. To 707 victory. Big numbers by Tish. She actually would have struck out that game. She would have shot 800 even. Wow. Made the run at 300 the previous game. Getting off to a strong start here. Walter Ray staying out of trouble against Mika Koivunemi. Started with the front 5. Was up by more than 100, so he's going to be in great position to stay in the winner's bracket. Final score 732-686. Andy Nyer moves on in the winner's bracket. Bob Learn Jr. going to stay in the winner's bracket as well. Finishes with 268 to get to 760. Junichi Yajima going to be a little bit short of that. Still get to 700, but will not be enough. So in the Bone Becker match, both of them went 9 spare in the 10th, or in the 9th frame, excuse me. So their score is dead even. So it's all about who's going to perform in these last 3 shots. Matt Cannizzaro down there. Looks like Parker up first, 8 count to start the 10th. So Becker will have an opportunity to finish and advance, knocking out our top seed. Parker converted the spare. So Becker will have to at least get 9 on his first shot, depending on the fill ball count. Norm Duke out to the early lead against Tony Rodriguez Jr. Rodriguez held the slight advantage of 5 pins. Looks like Duke 4 out of 5 to start. Lenny Borsch in good shape against James Wallace. Parker Bone finishes up with a 7-29. So Becker will need to fill 19 pins to send a Parker packing home. Big set from Daryl Dempsey, 792. A win over Roger Cossert. Becker delivered a strike on his first shot, so just needed to stay out of trouble on his last 2, 9 pins. Any way he can get it. He'll move a step closer. Joe Salvimini going to eliminate Krister Peterson. Walter Ray finishes with 277. He's going to get to 748. Going to be more than enough to send Mika Koivunemi to the elimination bracket. Just about to the end of the road on our Weber-Cray match here. Weber, our defending champion, has been the top seed the past 2 years here at the Senior Masters. Looking to make it 3 consecutive. It's getting closer and closer to that. Daryl Dempsey 792 to 688 over Roger Cosert. 741 to 729. Becker over Parker Bone III. Parker eliminated. Sal Vimini 679 to 575 over Krister Peterson. That score final. Dana Wright is going to eliminate Ryan Schaefer. Schaefer finished with 583. Wright already plus 600 total. David Smith in control against William Nichols. It's an elimination bracket match. They got a few frames left to go. Looks like Brian Goebel is going to be in good shape here to eliminate Marv Sargent. Sargent in the books with a 645. Goebel can strike out to get to 701, so needs just a few pins there. Norm Duke in control against Tony Rodriguez Jr. Brian Leclerc looking good against Eddie Graham. That's a winner's bracket match. Leclerc, a two-time winner on the PBA 50 Tour so far this season. Lenny Borsch going to move on to the round of 8 in the winner's bracket, defeating James Wallace. And Pete Weber caps off the victory over Scott Cray, 691 to 554 here on Bowl TV. 2017 USBC Senior Masters. After this round, we'll be down to 24 players, including 8 in the winner's bracket. Still a few matches ongoing. Our next round is going to be in about 45 minutes, so that means practice. We'll be starting 10 minutes before that, 10:35. Matt Cannizzaro back. Gives me the wave.
Hi, Aaron Smith.
Will probably give us a cool update on the Becker Bone match.
Yes. When I got down there for the 9th frame, and it appeared by your math and my agreement that had they both struck out, they would have tied. Becker left the 7-pin, and Parker matched that. So, again, same situation. If they both step up in the 10th frame, by my math that time, because you weren't there to help.
Sorry.
If they both punched in the 10th, they would have tied as well. And Parker let the first one sail past the head pin. Just way left a 1-3 for an 8 count, obviously, and spared it. And then Becker really stepping up in the 10th would have had to match him to tie, and went up and delivered all 3 to get past the Hall of Famer. And I think there was a conversation beforehand just about the way Parker's opponents are stepping up and just putting up some big numbers. And Parker obviously averaging nearly 250 for the entire event. It sounded like there was some joking back and forth, and Doug telling Parker, "Don't worry about it. I haven't shot 700 all tournaments, so I think you're cool." And Parker said, "Well, don't worry about it. You will."
Yep.
And he did. 741, 729, I believe was the final score. And so yeah, Parker Bone averaged nearly 250, and he's 2-2 and out the door. It's pretty wacky how this whole event works, and you can dominate statistically and just at the wrong place at the wrong time, really. And so now, 2 years in a row, Mr. Bone is out early. But a great performance. Always fun to watch, the smooth rolling left-hander. And he'll continue doing his thing, and that's why this event is so tough. And that's why, for example, at the regular Masters, it is one that has eluded Pete Weber. Just no matter how good you are or how many pins you knock down, the format means that it really could be anybody's day.
Get you some quick updates there. Thank you, Mr. Canizaro. Paul McCordick, 658 to 603 over Sam Lanto. Lanto eliminated. Ron Moore, 702 to 658 over Chuck Vishaw. So the Linz Lakers teammates eliminated in the same round. Brian LeClaire victorious over Eddie Graham. The only match going on right now, Tony Rodriguez Jr. and Norm Duke. Duke's just going to need count in the 10th frame to continue his road in the winner's bracket and set up a Weber-Duke round of 8 tilt. A lot of big scores there. We had a few potentials for 800 that block. Tish Johnson could have struck out for 800 on the nose. Daryl Dempsey got to 792. But as that final match finishes up, as soon as they have final score in the books, our tournament director, Damon Sirocco, is going to get on the big mic and let everyone know that we're going to be starting up again soon. So it's our next scheduled start time. It's going to be 1:45 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be bowl for score time. We'll be starting practice about 10 minutes before that. All that in about a half an hour. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave the cameras rolling. We'll put together a nice little note. Let you know it'll be here before you know it. And we'll be back on Bowl TV. Duke finishing up the win against Tony Rodriguez. Just has a fill ball left to go. All right, and bowling completed our opening round. Next round coming up, practice in a half hour. Our competitors going to make their way to our featured pairs coming up next on Bowl TV. We have Daryl Dempsey and Walter Ray Williams Jr. on 19 and 20. And Lenny Borsch taking on Andy Nyer on 21 and 22. So you heard Damon, small break. We'll be back soon at 1:45 p.m. Eastern. 10:45 a.m. local time here in Las Vegas at Sam's Town. Next round of bracket matches, 2017 USBC Senior Masters. Be sure to check out the Sport of Bowling USBC Facebook page in just a few moments. Matt working on getting that post up on the Becker Bone match. We'll be back here on Bowl TV. So for Matt, I'm Aaron. We'll see you soon in about half an hour for the next round. All right, everybody, we hope you enjoyed the break, and welcome back to Bowl TV for continued coverage of the 2017 USBC Senior Masters taking place at Sam's Town in Las Vegas. Round 4 of the winner's bracket, as well as the elimination bracket going on throughout the 56-lane center. But we have a pair winners bracket matches behind lanes 19 through 22. 2014 champion Walter Ray Williams Jr. taking on Daryl Dempsey on 19 and 20. Hall of Famer Lenny Borsch Jr. taking on Andy Nyer on 21 and 22. We saw Nyer the last match on 19-20 against John Shavanik. The lanes were not re-oiled during the break, as you could have watched. So interesting note on 19 and 20, we had a pair of left-handers. As we mentioned, Nyer had the nice spare there to start things off, and Shovanik, both lefties. Daryl Dempsey, fresh off a 792, is coming to a pair that's been essentially broken down on the left side. Walter Ray essentially walking into a fresh condition with no traffic on the right side. Fresh off of shooting almost 750 against Mika Koivunemi. So it'll be fun to watch how that that matchup develops. Let's get you a full rundown of everything that happened in that last round as we settle in to game one. These are 3-game matches with total pinfall determining who advances. Mentioned that Walter Ray, he defeated Mika 748 to 612. Daryl Dempsey's 792 came against Roger Kossert, who had 688. Brian LeClaire, a 703-606 win over Eddie Graham. And Bob Learn Jr. 760 to 707 over Junichi Yajima. So we have the Williams-Dempsey match, LeClaire and Learn on 25 and 26. Andy Nyer defeated John Shavanik 732 to 686 to set up this match against Lenny Borsch. Borsch 731 to 565 over James Wallace. And over on 15 and 16, we have Norm Duke taking on Pete Weber. So one of those guys will have to go to the elimination bracket. Those are the rules. Duke defeated Tony Rodriguez Jr. 711 to 687. Weber a 691 to 554 victory over Scott Cray. In the elimination bracket, our matches include Doug Becker, who just knocked off a top overall seed from qualifying, Parker Bone III, taking on Eddie Graham, Paul McCordick, and Junichi Yajima. David Smith and Mika Koivunemi, Ron Moore, and Roger Kossert. Joe Salvimini taking on Scott Cray. Brian Goebel against Tony Rodriguez Jr. Dana Wright against James Wallace. And Tish Johnson taking on John Shovanik. So As we mentioned, 24 players remain in the field, 8 in the winner's bracket. Will be down to 4 on the winner's side after this round. Getting closer and closer to determining our top overall seed. We will know the 1 and 2 seeds just a few hours, and then we'll wrap things up with the elimination bracket final. 4 players enter, 3 make it to the step ladder. If you want to check out the bracket or follow along with your favorite players on live scoring, 2 ways to get there. You can scroll down on the video a little bit, and in the description area you'll find a link to both. Or you can visit bowl.com/Senior Masters. Find everything you need to know about the 2017 event.
All right, Mr. Smith off to check on the live scoring situation. Let's get that switched back on here for this round of matches. Nair perfect on the left lane. Yet to strike on the right. We saw Pete Weber in a similar situation in the opening round. Eventually able to get things going and come away with the victory. Walter Ray asking that one to wheel, and it does for the 3-bagger. He's out in front of Daryl Dempsey halfway through this opening game. Daryl Dempsey trying to close the gap after the missed single pin. Doubles up in the 6th and 7th. Andy Nyer hits the right lane for the double. This match now, Boris advantage by 9. Aaron Smith gives me a half thumbs up. Looks like things are back in business. I wasn't worried for 1 minute. Now all is right in the world once again. Boris triples up and extending his lead now with Nyer not striking in the 8th. Dempsey with a chance to pick up a few pins back. 3 in a row for him. We've got ourselves a couple of matches here. So Dempsey now leading Walter by 2 pins after 7 frames. Walter will have a chance to retake the lead.
All right, a shout out to the good folks here at Samstown. Mike Kaufman, Tom Pippinger, and their crew. Making sure we were good to go with live scoring. Getting that up real quick. Been great all week, all tournament, every time we're here. Big fan of coming to Samstown. Always take care of us and the bowlers so well. Nyer. It's 8 pin. What are you doing? Done it, knew better. But yes, live scoring available. You can find it in the link in the description area below the video here on YouTube, or go to bowl.com/Senior Masters. 3 in the 10th for Andy to get to 218. Lenny the opportunity to get to 259. $235 for Walter Ray. Dempsey 217, a max score still available. Actually have a chance to have a tie after one in the Duke-Weber match. Duke can throw all 3 in the 10th to get to 238. Weber already in the books with 238 as Norm delivers the first one. So 235, 204 advantage Walter Ray Williams Jr. over Darrell Dempsey. 21 and 22. Lenny Borsch Jr. 259 to 218 advantage over Andy Nyer. Weber's going to hold an 11-pin lead over Duke. 238 to 227. Pretty close after one between Bob Learn Jr. and Brian LeClaire. Paul McCordick up 256 to 202 on Junichi Yajima. That's a elimination bracket match. Doug Becker in position to take the game 1 lead over Eddie Graham. Mika Koivunemi will be ahead of David Smith after one. Brian Goebel gonna have the lead on Tony Rodriguez Jr. James Wallace, leader after one against Dana Wright. John Chovanec, 277. The opening match against Tish Johnson, who had 201, so big lead for John against the Hall of Famer. Joe Salvimini gonna be up on Scott Cray after one. Gonna be pretty close between Ron Moore and Roger Cossert. I think that's everybody. So some of those matches still in the 9th or 10th frame, so no official final scores, but player for the Dramatics, Walter Ray. Takes care of the 9-pin. His own sweet time. Mentioned that Daryl Dempsey having the big block last round, 792. Trouble for Lenny in the third, 6-7-10. Lenny bounces back. Has found success here at Sam's Town in the past. Had a great showing at the 2015 World Bowling Senior Championships as part of the U.S. contingent. Took home gold in the team event. And 3 out of the 4 players on that team still here in the field with the final 24. Bob Learn Jr. and Ron Moore, the 4th on that team. John Petraglia just missed making the match play bracket, finishing in 65th after qualifying. The Weber-Duke match, not disappointing. Over on 15 and 16, Weber rose up 11. After game 1, Weber has struck on 4 out of 5 attempts, but Duke is 5 for 5. Sound of the crowd, make it 6 for 6.
If only we could be in more places at once.
Walter. Tripping fours. Doing big things, feeling the flow. Daryl Dempsey starting to get lined up here. Feel he's going to have to pile on the strikes here with the way Walter Ray's been bowling. It's been on a tear. Norm Duke looking to continue his string of strikes. Delivers in the 7th.
So did you really expect anything less from these two gentlemen we talked about earlier with Weber and Chris Warren? Getting out there, expectations high. You want to play up to your opponent. Then, of course, 10 minutes of warm-up on the pair of lanes. Looks like Andy Nyer and Lenny Boris wanted to watch Duke and Weber as well. Duke's got the front 8, so I'm going to be on the move here in a moment. See the exciting conclusion to that game. We saw Weber and Warren go 300-279 yesterday.
Pete can max out at 256 this game. So at the moment down in the match. Looks like Lenny to make a ball change there. And accidentally did not have the ball with him here at the pair. So now he's back. This right lane has given him some trouble the past 2 frames. Finds the right look in the 7th, make it a double. Weber delivers strikes in the 8th and the 9th. Daryl Dempsey bowling well, just running into an unstoppable train at the moment known as Walter Ray Williams Jr. So Duke did connect in the 9th. Matt Cannizzaro in the pits. Andy Nair pointing at himself after that one, leaving the split in the 9th frame. So that one was on me. Thought he was going to kick that over. Did not connect with the 10 pin though. Duke stuffs a 9 pin to start the 10th frame. Dempsey bowling well, 443 for 2. They're going to be in big time trouble here. As Walter Ray gives him some help. It's not doing so. Going to add on to that lead. Larry in the 260s can make it 279 still. Could afford that miscue after getting the first strike in the 10th. Takes the 1 to get to 266. Be at a 501 443 advantage. Big 10th frame for Weber here. Duke finished with 277. So he is at 504. Weber can get to 256. We'll have to settle for 245 now, ring in the 10. Nair can keep the distance at 41 pins. She's able to strike out. 504, 483. Norm Duke ahead of Pete Weber. Over on 15 and 16. $524 to $472 advantage. John Jovanik against Tish Johnson. Matching 213s in game 2. Gives Lenny Borsch Jr. the 472 to 431 advantage. Heading into game 3 to stay in the winner's bracket here at the 2017 USBC Senior Masters. Early double from Nair, looking to start cutting into this deficit. It's down 41 entering this game. Walter Ray. Things are going your way, they're going your way. Triple the 2 forward. Really 3-bagger match well on hand. Capitalizes, makes it 4 in a row. So Bob Learn Jr. going to hold an advantage over Brian LeClaire, our other winner's bracket match. 424 to 406. Over on 25 and 26. Doug Becker has on cruise control against Eddie Graham at the moment. 500 after 2 for the smooth rolling left-hander. Eddie Graham can max out and get to 418 for his 2-game total. Gonna be pretty close between David Smith and Mika Koivunemi. Smith big 258 in game 2. Gonna cut into that deficit. Three pins separate Brian Goebel and Tony Rodriguez Jr. on 37 and 38. Goebel 450 to 447. James Wallace up 430 to 392 on Dana Wright. All the pins falling Walter Ray's way at the moment. Making good shots, getting the hits. And trouble for Lenny. He's connected on both of his shots on the right lane, which was giving him a little bit of trouble last game. But now big time trouble here, 5th frame. That 41 pin lead all but erased now. Not much Dempsey can do at this point except just continue to throw strikes and hope that Walter Ray is human at some point. He has systematically been mowing down opponents. Well, I guess he is human. Timing has always been my thing. Except at bowling. That's why I'm back here.
And because you're 18 years away from being old enough to compete against these guys. Other than that, small details. It's more fun back here anyway. And they've got us roped off for our safety as the crowd closes in. Standing room only here at Samstown Bowling Center. Some great winners bracket matches going on here. Duke and Weber duking it out. Weber, spare 4-bagger. Weber was down 21 coming into game 3 and has erased that. So again, didn't expect anything less from those two gentlemen.
They're pretty good at the bowling. Back-to-back splits for Walter Ray. Able to get that one all the way up the hill. Nair missed on the 8-pin. Buried the spare second time around. Messenger went right in front of it. So he's looking for six consecutive strikes, but has made up the difference. It's down at 41. That is a quick 51 pin swing. So Lenny, if he's able to double up here.
After this round, we'll be down to 4 undefeated players. We then roll another match. The 2 winners will be guaranteed spots on the TV show.
So Lenny now down 10. Paul McCordick 6 in a row. Duke gets a real light hit in the 6th frame. Max score for him 259. Weber still has 290 out there. Still a few frames to go in that match, however. Lenny finds the combination on the left lane. Trouble for Duke in the 7th. 2-8-10. It's going to put him in big time trouble. Walter Ray's look going away, but that's okay at this point because already done enough striking through the first two games in 6 frames to afford this. Things getting very close here on 21 and 22. Andy certainly not one afraid to show his emotions there, but about shots as Walter Ray showing off the guns there, throwing pins around. Big shot here in the 8th for Borsch. Oh, goodness. Goodness, goodness, goodness. So heading into the 9th and the 10th, Nair will have a slight advantage. No problem on the spare. 6 pins. The difference.
All right, updating the Weber Duke match. Weber spare 6-bagger. And Duke with the open in the 7th. Best he can get to is 224. So that 21 pins erased and then some.
Weber just left the 3-6-9-10, but converted it in frame 8. Duke nearly 710. Up on 16. Gotta drop that max down. A few more pins. Andy Neyer's going to have the chance to step up here in the 9th and the 10th. Shut out Lenny Borsch. Gets the lean on the 7. First strike here would be big. And now just good count will solidify Andy Neyer, making it a step closer to the stepladder finals for a 2nd consecutive year. 734, 676. Walter Ray Williams Jr. over Darrell Dempsey. The big 9th and 10th there from Neyer. So 685 is going to be enough here.